What is happening, guys? Chris from NCG here, and today I am reviewing Daniel Altavia's first place American Regional Psychic Malamar decklist, or Marshadow Toolbox, whichever you prefer. So I'm going to run through the individual card choices, run through why this deck's a thing, and basically talk about why it's one of the strongest, if not the strongest deck of the format. So starting off with, actually the main monster is the Marshadow GX. What it does is, if you have a basic Pokemon in your discard, Marshadow gets to use any attack from that basic Pokemon, so long as Marshadow can fulfill the energy requirements, which the deck has a wide range of targets, which we'll get to further down the line. But this is your main attacker. You want to set it up ASAP because it hits Zoroark for weakness, which is absolutely huge, because Zoroark was always a really bad matchup for the Malamar archetype. So Marshadow playing a heavier variant, or a heavier Marshadow oriented variant, just means that you're going to trade favorably with the Zoroark. He's not playing anything like Sudowoodo, so Zoroark he can knock it out with a full bench and a choice band. But I'm guessing, because he isn't playing Sudowoodo, that that's just really not an issue, because you're just trying to trade favourably. They need more resources to set up their next attacker than you do, so streaming knockouts is a lot easier. So yeah, that's the Marshadow. That is the main Pokemon he's playing a 2 of. One of the targets and the secret tech of the deck is a Chinchou. What it does is 1 Psychic Energy for 10, and your opponent cannot play any Pokemon that has an ability from their hand during the next turn. So they cannot evolve Zorua into Zoroark, Rockruff into Lycanroc, Inky into Malamar. You know, the list is pretty extensive. And the fact that it actually does damage means that you're not just sitting there stalling out until your opponent are in a stage where you can maybe out-set up the opponent, create a resource divide. It actually does damage, so you can just poke and poke and poke and poke and poke, and your opponent can't even Guzma around it because it's a lingering effect. You would need literally Pokemon Ranger, which has rotated, to bust out of this. So Chinchou is just a really solid card. Like, as I said, it does damage, so that means you can literally just poke away with Marshadow or Chinchou himself and take prizes eventually. So this card is really solid as a one-off. Try and dump it in the discard via all your discard outlets, and yeah, continue on as normal. 1 copy of Dawnwings Necrozma GX. Surprisingly, he's only playing 1. I probably think that this card isn't as relevant as it once was, but it is so good against Rayquaza. Moon's Eclipse GX. If you have less prizes than your opponent, this attack was 180, and it cannot be attacked next turn. That is just ridiculous, especially when you only have, say, like Malamars or literally no other GX Pokemon on your bench. Even if your opponent Guzma rounds it and breaks the Moon's Eclipse, it doesn't matter, because they're only picking up 1 prize when you've denied them. You've taken 2 off the Rayquaza, and then you've only given them 1 prize in return, and then you can just go in with the other Psychic Malamar and take a further 2 prizes and just kill off their momentum. It is just a really solid Pokemon, and of course Invasion makes it a lot easier for you to set up attackers, and 2 retreat costs actually pretty decent. Skateboard turns that down to 1, but it discards 2 energy and then get to put them on something else thanks to a combination of Invasion. So this card is really solid, but it is only a one-off. 2 copies of Deoxys, the best 1 prize Psychic Attacker. You want to try and get this set up as soon as in the Malamar matchup. Reason being is because it just takes a lot of knockouts. Psychic is a really good attack. Power Blast 120 knocks out a lot of things, but he's actually playing a tech, which I'll get to later, that actually makes this card a lot better, because they can attack with it a lot more fluently, and it's just a bomb. So a 2-0 for that, and of course Marshadow can copy it when it hits the discard. The obvious for Malamar for Inky, because it's your heart and soul, it's the engine. You want to get as many copies of this card up as soon as possible. 1 copy of Let Loose Marshadow. This is both a combo extender, a disruptor, and just a way to refill your hand that isn't Tapu Lele, because he doesn't play it. Oh, sorry, he plays it as a one-off, but it's just another way of you being able to draw cards without committing to a supporter. So you're still free to Guzma problematic cards, and like I said, it disrupts your opponent, especially if you're going against stuff like Metagross or Rayquaza and they've used Tempest or Algorithm. Marshadow is just a really good card in that sense, and it's a Psychic, so it's searchable off your many Bull Search cards. One copy of Mimikyu. This card is disgustingly good against Garb and Buzzwole. Felt Strutty cards. The main reason you're playing with that or the card, obviously. Copycat. When your opponent's Pokemon use an attack that isn't a GX attack last turn, you get to fire it right back at it, except you're a Psychic type, so it does Psychic weakness. So you get to fire back Sledgehammers, Trash Launches, even Weavile's attack if it's enough to knock it out. Just the things you can do with Mimikyu and Guzma are really, really good. It's just a really, really solid card. Has no weakness, has no resistance, and it is 1 retreat cost. We'll get to later why that is really relevant. And for the last line of Pokemon, Wonder Crossma GX, this is a solid card. Far better than the Ultra card because it only needs 1 type of energy, which is just so relevant because it just hampers your consistency otherwise. Prismatic Burst, you're hitting for 190 and 250, which are just like the perfect numbers to really hit. Black Ray GX isn't as relevant in this deck as it would be in sort of decks that are set up to resolve it, but having a GX attack is definitely not a bad thing, especially when you've maybe poked with your own prize attackers and your opponents maybe like Guzma'd them away and not healed them, so they're just sitting there, and then you can flip the GX marker and hopefully take some prizes. But it is obviously there to allow Marshadow to use Prismatic Burst, and again it can attack itself if needs be. So 1 copy of Necrozma. The card I was talking about in Havel's Deoxys Farmore is the 1 copy of Vital Dance Orikoro. It is Professor's Letter on legs, i.e. a Professor's Letter which is directly searchable by stuff like Ultra Ball and Mysterious Treasure. So this just sets up your combos. It is a starter card. And a combo extender, I guess, in late game, but he said he exclusively played this against Malamar just to have that edge, so he can outpace the opponents and get started far quicker than your opponent can. Bench space is really, really tight in this deck, so it only really gets benched against decks like Malamar or decks that don't play Sudowoodo, because you just get extremely punished by Sudowoodo playing this card if they play it. So 1 copy of Orikoro, and lastly for the Pokemon, 1 copy of Tapu Lele to search literally anything you need at the time. So only 1 copy though, because it's not that important, and it has 1 retreat, which again we'll get to in a minute why that is so important. So moving on to the items, he is playing 3 copies of Acrobike. I'm not too sure why the whole 3 copies of Acrobike is so popular over 4. I don't know if mathematically that's correct. You get to see it as often as possible without seeing it in multiples, i.e. against stuff like Trashlands. You maybe don't resolve too many, just want to have it at the ideal time. I'm not too sure, but 3 copies of Acrobike nonetheless. This is just your accelerator. The dream of picking up a combo extender and a Psychic Energy is just really, really good. So 3 copies of Acrobike. 1 copy of Escape Rope, because this is a switch that disrupts your opponents, even if really minor disruption, i.e. they swap a Zoroark with no energy with a Zoroark with energy, so the Zoroark with no energy comes on. Even that minor bit of disruption is so critical, because it just can be the difference in the game. So 1 Escape Rope over switch, vital. 1 copy of Friend Ball. I really like this card because now that the formats are coming a bit more defined, you're near enough guaranteed to get at least something out of it, because you are playing a fighting type deck, i.e. Marso, and a Psychic type deck, which are the 2 tied probably with Dark, the 2 most paid types in the game right now. So if they bench a Buzzwole, then you can search Marshadow. If they bench Trubbish, you can search literally your whole deck. So Friend Ball is a really solid card to play right now, and he's playing it as a one-off. Then the other searchers are 4 copies of Mysterious Treasure, because it searches every card in your deck bar the Marshadow, and 1 copy of Nest Ball, because it searches literally every card in your deck bar Malamar, and 4 copies of Ultra Ball, because it does literally search every card in your deck. So that is a lot of ball searchers. Yes, it does fuel Trashlands, but like I don't think you can really get around that this deck doesn't do too well against Trashlands. They have to, you know, just sort of win the prize war, or maybe target down the Garbodor's partner to hopefully take more prizes. But either way, like the deck can't really function because I think after 4 items, I think Gar becomes a real threat against anything, and 4 items is near enough a guaranteed. So even with the heavy lines, I don't think it makes a difference, because you're going to play into Trash Challenge anyway, so you may as well just get your setup done anyway. So moving on to the supporters, it is very simple. It is 4 copies of Cynthia, 3 copies of Guzma, and 4 copies of Lily. So he's just playing it simple. He just wants the best draw supporter and the second best draw supporter, with the card that targets down your opponent's bench and allows you to pick up 6 prizes. I'll leave a link to Rickon's report in the description. The guy who got second at Philadelphia, and the guy who basically made this deck a thing, and he can explain all his card choices, because he was mentioning why he only plays 3 Guzma instead of 4 and all that good stuff. So I'll leave a link in the description. You can ask him or view his choices at your pleasure. So Lily's just the best. Lily's the best draw supporter to start off with, because it really just gets the ball rolling, and even after, because you can empty your hand pretty easily without overextending. So Lily's pretty much always live, and like I said, he doesn't want anything else. He doesn't want copycats, tantalizes, fan clubs, none of that. It's just a really basic draw or list, because that's all he wants his supporters to do: draw cards and aggressively target down bench pokes. So why play anything more? And the reason I was mentioning 1 retreat cost so much is because the best card in the deck, no sarcasm intended, is a skateboard. The retreat cost of the Pokemon this is attached to is 1 less, and it can't be asleep. It can even retreat even if it's asleep or paralyzed. So not as relevant as it once was, but it's just kind of nice to have that. But without bluffing or anything, it is there to lower the retreat cost by 1. So the main attacker, no coincidence, if I can get to it, no coincidence, is only 1 retreat. So you can just maneuver in and out of your active really easy setup with Malamar if you have to discard all your energy for Prismatic Burst, for example. But chaining attackers is just fantastically easy, and you always have your Guzma pivot, because so many Pokemon in this deck only have 1 retreat. So a skateboard is literally one of the best cards in the deck, and the main reason why he's decided to play Malamar in the first place. And tying it all together is 10 copies of basic Psychic Energy. Now you can pretend to know mathematically why 10 is correct. Don't know why it's not 12 or 8. I know Rickon, and I know he is a stats guy, so I can near enough guarantee this is the most mathematically correct ratio of Psychic Energy to play. So hope you enjoyed the deck, guys. Well done to Daniel Altavia, well done to Rickon. He finished top 16, I believe. So congrats to him. He's getting the results he deserves. He's probably one of the greatest theory minds that I've ever seen. So congrats to him. Let me know if what you think of the deck, guys. I'll leave the link to his Heyfonte post in the description so you can check it out. Check it out next time, guys. Peace out.